So what made you all decide to come out here and protest out in front of the NRA annual meeting?
I think what happened in Uvalde earlier this week, I live up in Austin. I've been out there many times. And the fact that they were holding this conference here this week in this state, I thought was inappropriate.
On Memorial Day weekend.
On Memorial Day weekend. And I just wanted to come down and hold up a sign and be present. And maybe someone in that building sees someone that looks like them, has maybe some background like them, but has an opinion that's different from theirs, and maybe have a conversation and get some people to think about the fact that, nothing's going to change if the laws in this country don't change. Mm-hmm. And what's happening time after time after time is unacceptable to me. I mean, it's horrifying. And I didn't grow up in a country where, when I was in grade school, I didn't have to do active shooter drills. That concept didn't even exist because this country wasn't awash in weapons of war, right? And Glenn and I were in the Army, and
I was too.
Hoorah, right? Right? I mean, so, these are tools that were designed for infantrymen to kill other infantrymen.
Exactly.
And you could argue whether or not there should be an entire ban on assault weapons. We had an assault weapons ban in the 90s, and we didn't have as many schools or theaters or grocery stores getting shot up because there's just fewer guns. But now the genie's out of the bottle, and I could go into a gun show and get an assault rifle with no background check, or I could inherit it from my father, or I could buy it from him. We got to close all these loopholes, right, and get to some sane gun laws that ensure that people that want to bear these weapons or own these weapons are properly vetted. That's all I'm saying. We just got to properly vet it so that we're never going to eliminate violence. We're never going to eliminate the bad guy with the gun because the genie's out of the bottle. The guns are there, but could we diminish it? Instead of 10 more massacres over the next decade, maybe we only have 5. And that's not going to save the kids that get killed in the 5, but it'll sure as hell save the kids that don't get killed in the other 5, right? So it's a matter. There's no binary answer here. It's not on or off. But can we reduce these massacres? And so I stood up and drove down here because I think we ought to have some sane fucking gun laws in this country.
So, from my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, you think a big part of the solution, if not the solution, is banning assault weapons, correct?
There's no one solution, right? I mean, there's no silver bullet to any complex issue like this. But it's let's do sensible things, right? Like background checks, right? I think you hear about a lot of different numbers, a lot of different data points out there, but it's pretty clear that most Americans, even folks there in the NRA, most of their membership, believe that we should have background checks for assault rifles.
By the way,
why don't we have that?
We used to be NRA.
Yeah, I was in the NRA when I was in the Army, right? I mean, and I think our political divide in this country has polarized us to where we now can't do sensible things that we need to do, and the people that bear the brunt of that are these kids and their teachers, and it's unacceptable to me.
I think I'll add a little bit. He probably can say it better, but one of the other things that we think we can have an impact in is that hopefully, as combat arms veterans, a little bit older, the fetishization or the glamorization, of this military mentality. If you want to go out and battle rattle and run around all the time and join the Army.
Yeah, join the Marine Corps.
It's not healthy, and more people are going to get killed because they're getting sucked. They're gullible. Maybe they're
normalizing,
or maybe they feel like they've been left behind and they're angry. But the solution isn't to go and arm yourselves up like we were in the military. Okay, that's dangerous, very dangerous culturally, and you can't legislate that.
Yeah, it's got to be.
But older folks can say, "Hey, it's kind of not
this.
Cool.
This isn't normal.
This is not normal.
This is not normal.
All right."
And if we're willing for this to be normal, then what the fuck is wrong with us?
Right.
So, what would you like to see? What was one thing you want to see accomplished, maybe over the next year or two?
I'll go first. I would like to see more of us like out here.
Yeah.
We're not doing ad hominem attacks. Yes, okay, when we're driving away, we'll use some nasty words, but that doesn't help, okay, on either side. But most gun owners, as he said, most NRA members believe in background checks. Let's start there. Let's be grown-ups and let's have a conversation. And that means that some of us older folks need to come out here and step out. We can have our chairs and we can have some ice water.
That's right. Take it
and have a conversation, because you can't just yell names at each other.
I want more people to step up and say it's unacceptable. That's it. And then vote. And vote.
One thing it seems to me is it doesn't matter if you're attending the NRA meeting or sitting out here. I don't think anybody really wants to see kids dying in schools. But it's something I've seen before when I cover the border. People have differing opinions, but they kind of have the same end goal, and that is to kind of be safe. They just have different ways to get there.
Pursuit of happiness.
So what would you say to somebody who's inside? And, maybe they're willing to listen to somebody like you who has experience handling firearms. What would you say to them?
We're not your enemy. Yeah. We're not demons. Okay? At least half the country. Sorry, my friend, my fellow citizen. I care about you. Okay? I think that you're being lulled into a sort of a cult-like mentality, but that aside, we're not your enemy. You're scaring us. And I don't get scared easy. And you're scaring 60% of the population with some of the vitriol, the antics, the guns and Bible. Why? And have that conversation. And sit down. We had a conversation with a guy from Cleveland over here. And similar to what you were saying, you can have common ground, right? And there's ways. Once you sit down and take Wayne LaPierre and go put him on an island. Take all his money. Oliver North has already left. Half of his board is already left. Okay, take Ted Cruz. Go back to Canada. He's kind of a smurf. Let's get together and let's talk. Okay, because we're not your enemy. Okay. Yes, there's some young kids out here, passionate kids, that are throwing some nasty words around, etc. They're angry and they're frightened too. Let's listen to these kids that are frightened. Okay, we're not your enemy. We're not liars. We're not coming after the Second Amendment. Okay, we fought for.
Actually, I honestly think the Second Amendment should be rewritten.
Let's modify it.
Yeah, I mean,
last time we ratified an amendment was 1972.
The Constitution is a document that was intentionally designed to be modified and keep up with the times, right? So from when the Second Amendment was written to today, things are very different, and it
took on average 11 seconds to reload a musket.
Yeah. I mean, we need to just be sane about this, right? Because if we're willing to accept these massacres of innocents that are happening over and over again, if we're willing to accept that as normal, shame on us.
Well, I do actually. I plan on wrapping it up because there's one more thing that you had said that was actually intriguing to me about the Second Amendment. People interpret the Constitution differently.
Sure.
There's things such as judicial interpretation.
Of course.
There's different ways to look at it. Now, one way I think a lot of people in here would look at it as is that the people should be able to be as well armed as the government, because
let's legalize machine guns.
Yeah, I should be able to buy an M1 tank
let's not go that far.
Hey, that would look cool in the driveway, though.
Open carry machine guns. The Second Amendment is the right to keep and bear arms. Arms are weapons. If you take an originalist view, okay? So we have all sorts of infringements. You at 6 years old, you can't buy a weapon, right? Is that 6-year-old a citizen? He is, or she is. We don't allow that. But so let's use some common sense here, right?
Yeah, if I want to buy a 50 caliber machine gun, I can do that, but I got to get a class 3.
Got to go get a class 3 license.
And that's going to take a little while, and they're going to look at it. So.
No, I was actually genuinely curious because some people have a really strictly constitutional point of view and look at it from how it was
the
back then.
Constitution wasn't carved on tablets and hauled down by Moses off the mount, right? It was written by elected, duly elected representatives of the people, and we can rewrite it, right, to keep up with the times. It's not like it's carved in stone. It shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, thank
But in
y'all.
the meantime, let's try and keep people safe. Yeah, some sensible gun.
Well, I appreciate
All right,
you
man.
taking
Good
your
luck.
time.